All right, guys, welcome to the Git Bit Podcast, the podcast for blurs and nerds, and for all those of fandom to join us. How you doing? I'm your host, the most Will Buchanan. Of course, the man to my left, as you can see, is donning the Nova helmet. I wonder what name he's got this week. So, Joe, what you going by besides the Nova helmet? I'm just going to go ahead and point that out. You got to unmute yourself first.
Mildly embittered, slightly muted, retired Nova Centurion Joe Tonello.
That's a lot. How you doing, Joe?
I mean, I have less issues than Rich Rider these days, but you know. Damn. What? I have all the Nova books as of late.
Damn. That one took me out of the frame. Aside from that, guys, before we get started, this is a family-friendly podcast. So we do try to watch our language, but sometimes words do fly, and sometimes we do show trailers, albeit they are muted. But however, they may be too intense for younger viewers, so viewer discretion is advised. Aside from that, welcome. So, as Joe has pointed out many times, and especially when he was gaming on his channel, playing Guardians of the Galaxy in the Nova helmet, as you can see, he actually did bring this to my attention, and he is more informed about Kamen Rider than I am, especially this new one that came out, which was the complete series. So, Joe, do you mind explaining what Kamen Rider 01's about?
Okay. Kamen Rider 01 is the first time in America in a very, very long time, outside of the Hawaii distribution lines, we'll be getting a Kamen Rider series. This series is the very first Reiwa period in Japan's history. So the Reiwa period is after we have the new emperor, so we get a new era in Japan, which is the Reiwa period. And Kamen Rider 01 is the first Kamen Rider for the Reiwa period. This is, the brief synopsis is, terrible stand-up comedian becomes president of a robotics company where they make helper robots, and evil robots try to turn the robots against humanity. So he has to become Kamen Rider 01 to protect not only the people of Japan, but his own company image. And we also get some police force, which are also Kamen Riders. And maybe sometimes the bad guys may be Kamen Riders.
Okay.
The series and the promo, as you'll see, it is the full series, plus the epilogue movie and 5 TV specials. It is for pre-order over on both Amazon and Shout Factory. I highly recommend anybody that's mildly interested to go and grab it. $60 for a full 52-episode series, 5 specials, and the movie is dirt cheap in the grand scheme of things. Plus, if we get more, there'll be more incentivized or more enthused rather to bring more out and maybe get the older stuff. I would love to have a Fives box set because that's my personal favorite, but, you know, we start somewhere. Plus, other finishing moves are very reminiscent of Fist and North Star, as they have, like, the bullet point and name of the move after it's done.
The insult and say, you're already dead?
No, but you know how, like, they'll do it and there'll be, like, that big flash of kanji and it's like, Fist of the 8 stars?
Yeah.
They'll do that with all the finishing moves.
Okay, I can live with that. But judging by look, it looks like it'll be out January of 2022. So I will probably go back to see if I can find some episodes to watch because it's been a while since I've seen some Kamen Rider. But again, thank you, Joe, for pointing that out. Also, I do want to do a quick synopsis on My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission. I went to go see it this past weekend, and it is definitely, in my opinion, worth the money. Now, of course, I'm going to keep this as unspoiled as I can, because apparently if you've been on the internet, they tell you the whole freaking story. But what I'll say about World Heroes Mission, it's My Hero Academia's third OVA, following two heroes and Heroes Rising. And of course, this is following a little bit before the war arc in My Heroes Academia. If you've been following the manga, you'll know what I'm talking about. In which they are basically fighting a cult that is really much bent on eradicating all quirks. Now, overall, the movie itself is pretty good. It did feel like an extended episode, but again, when you have characters like Deku, Bakio, and Todoroki, and many other ones, it is actually very enjoyable. And it is, and as I know this goes without saying, because let's be honest, some anime movies do kind of go on the PG-13 kind of slide area. It is very safe for kids to watch. I will say this, just from previous experience, if you go into a theater that's marked 4DX and think that it's going to be a normal movie, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, please don't make the same mistake I did. That is literally a roller coaster / special effects to basically immerse you in the movie. I didn't know that when I bought the tickets, but again, it kind of made it fun. But that's a lot of rocking in one movie theater for one movie. But overall,
well, you've never been into Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, have you?
Nope, I have not.
Okay.
Nope. I said the closest I ever had to crowd interaction was a Rocky Horror Picture Show movie, but that was very long ago. But no, the World Heroes Mission My Academia is very much well done. I will say this: if you are a fan, you're going to enjoy it, and definitely give my stamp of approval on it. So I will definitely say it's definitely kid friendly. You should enjoy it. We're gonna keep moving on with the trailers because thanks to Joe, I almost forgot about this jewel that was dropped in our laps earlier this week. No, I'm not talking about the Morbius trailer, not yet. I am talking about the Book of Boba Fett, the spinoff of The Mandalorian, which we do know The Mandalorian will come back for another season. However, the Book of Boba Fett will come out first before it, and if you haven't seen the trailer, we're actually playing it right now. Of course, Boba Fett did appear in The Mandalorian, basically chasing The Mandalorian for his armor because he said he's the rightful owner of it. And so this is actually going to follow his story along with Mina Wen, who's basically playing his right side person, and basically following Boba Fett's story as it still exists. Now, keep in mind, with The Mandalorian, this is still in a, how can I put this ever so nicely, Joe? I can't call it a post-universe, but that little one-off canon area that Star Wars doesn't like to talk about.
So first off, this is what I like to call the tale of how Boba Fett became cool again.
Pretty much.
Because let's just face it, the man got roundhouse kicked poorly into a, we're a PG show, so we'll say carnivorous sand trap.
Yeah, because we can't see the other one.
And then made some cool appearances in The Mandalorian, and now this is his time to shine. Hopefully he'll be as cool as he was in the Star Wars Holiday Special where he rode in on a Brontosaurus. No. As for what we're calling this the Extended Universe because we are, I believe, past the movies. No, we are in the middle of the movies.
Yeah, we're in the middle.
It is in between Jedi and the
it's kind of
Rey era.
Yeah. That's about the best way to put that, because there's really not a mention. There's really not a mention really of Jedi's and Sith that's much outside of Grogu.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got a point. But no, it's just I look at it and I'm like, I think it's gonna be great because again, I think a lot of stories, and the one thing I'll say about Star Wars that they really do differently than I wish that my beloved DC would do is that there's so many avenues for each of these characters to tell their own stories. And I know a lot of people who read the Star Wars books like there's plenty of stories out there like that. I understand. I am talking about in a movie format. Because yes, there are hundreds upon hundreds of Star Wars books that tell stories of Boba Fett, that tell stories of various Jedi and Sith. I get it, especially from Knights of the Old Republic. I still get it. I'm just saying how it would translate to a movie format. I'm just saying whatever Jon Favreau wants to do in the Disney LucasArts universe, let them run with it. Because for me, I know I'll be watching it once it becomes available. I don't remember when it said that it was going to be available. December 29th. There we go. So December 29th on Disney Plus, which is kind of awkward because it's not going to follow Hawkeye because Hawkeye.
No, it's following Hawkeye because Hawkeye.
Is Hawkeye Thanksgiving or is it Christmas?
No, Hawkeye starts Thanksgiving and ends Christmas Eve.
Oh, so it's going to fall right behind that because Hawkeye's going to be a Christmas movie like Die Hard, but
yes.
It is going to be
its own children's book.
It's pretty much got its own children's book. But it's still going to be cool. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Also, the other trailer, yes, we are going to talk about Morbius because as me and Joe and others have talked in our podcast, Sony is getting confident. Sony is becoming ever so confident. Following the success of Venom: Let There Be Carnage, they are really starting to be a little bit more confident in their own version of their own universe, one could say. Joe?
Oh, I question that confidence because they're also dumping this movie at the end of January, start of February. And we know what that means in the Hollywood industry if you're not named Deadpool.
True. Although Deadpool's pretty much a Disney princess by now.
So this is a 50-50. If it'll be good or not, I'm sure it'll be fine. I guarantee you Jared Leto took 2 years to learn how to walk like that with the crutches because that man's a method actor.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I still say his Joker was in it, but again, that's Snyder writing. I'm not gonna hold that against him. But him playing as Morbius, I'm like, I think it looks like it's a role that fits him. At the same time, I like how they're going with the origin story of Michael Morbius, and it's just. And I will say this, it is hard to do because a lot of people kind of gave this guff about this. I'm like, well, you got to think about what Sony has done. Sony has done now 2 Venom movies without Spider-Man, and that's difficult to do considering Venom's origin story. And now with Michael Morbius, which let's be honest, he was a Spider-Man villain. That again, you're creating Michael Morbius in a world without Spider-Man. So it's. You don't think so?
Well, that's debatable because Michael Keaton's Vulture's right there. So
can we say there's a multiverse?
Yeah. We also need to acknowledge something I spotted in this movie, or rather, a lack of in this movie, but there's plentiful in the other ones.
Go for it.
There were no other vampires in this trailer.
None.
But there were vampires galore in the original trailer.
That's true.
The other thing that I need to make mention of, a lot of you watching this may not be as old as we are. So if you need to know who Michael Morbius is, trot on over to Disney Plus, pull up Fox's Spider-Man, and you will get your Michael Morbius.
Pretty much.
Kind of. Because we can't have a bloodsucker. He's got hand suctions for plasma.
Yep.
But for the most part, he is the same character and plays a significant role for, I want to say, 2 seasons in Spider-Man?
Yeah, it was 2 seasons.
I know, well, Neogenic Nightmare, and then he comes back with Blade and Black Cat in Sins of the Father?
Yep.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, okay. I was sitting there, is it Sins of the Father?
Yep, it Sins of the Father because it's still Spider-Man dealing with the mutant gene, so you're right. But aside from that, though, Morbius is good. Like I said before, I think it's going to be cool. And the thing about it is, like I was telling everybody else, I think it's going to be one of those to where it might be a sleeper for it to come in. Even though, like I said, Sony is definitely being very, very, very confident in this, and I still say it's because of what happened with the Venom series so far, which we know Venom and Spider-Man. Spoiler alert: if you ain't seen Venom, Let There Be Carnage by now. Yes, the end scene at the end of that movie was basically showing Tom Holland Spider-Man. So we do know that Tom Hardy, Alice, Eddie Brock is in the same universe now as Spider-Man, supposedly because of Doctor Strange's spells. Doctor Strange.
Or is Spider-Man in the same universe as Venom now?
That too, depending on which legal right you go by, whether
Yeah.
you go which
We
depending
just don't know anymore.
the legal battle is a little murky these days, but those two are definitely going to be there. And of course, like Joe said, you did see Michael Keaton's Vulture character run into Michael Morbius. So again, that kind of leads to, I still say there's going to be a Sinister Six. That's just me. I think it's going to wind up happening somewhere down the line. If not in Far From Home, because Far From Home, which again, guys, Far From Home, can we just wait till December? Because I'm going to be honest, they did a picture of the movie poster for Far From Home, and it's immediate speculation. And I'm like, guys, we're all looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Spider-Man Far From Home. I am looking forward to Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness. I am looking for...
just spoiled the villain for that movie via the toys.
Yeah, we already know who the villain's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
So, but with that being said, I just wish, just like Eternals came out tonight. Well, officially came out Thursday, but weekends, they usually count Friday as the release. Guys, let people enjoy it. Guys like me and Joe, we see these movies come up, we're like, okay, we're going to go see them. And after we go see them, me, or Joe may be like, okay, give a brief review, but we don't spoil anything. And, allow you to make up your own mind. But it's just that every time I go out and see stuff, I'm like, why are, movie bombing Rotten Tomatoes, review bombing Rotten Tomatoes, and then, people come, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. I was like, first off, if you don't know who the Eternals are, it is a different story.
No. Now, we need to phrase this correctly. If you know who the Eternals are, you're already ahead of the game, because practically nobody knows who the Eternals are.
Unless you read the comics back, unless you got the comics all the way back in '85. Unless you read those comics, you're not going to know who they are. I think it was, yeah.
We're talking about the original Jack Kirby Eternals? We're talking about the Neil Gaiman Eternals.
Ooh. You know what? Knowing either one of them is fine. I will give you that. Most people want to go back to Jack Kirby's 85, but Neil Gaiman's Eternals is still good too. So, okay, let me rephrase this. If you have some idea of what the Eternals are, you're fine. But if you came off, as I like to call, newbies, there's nothing wrong with being a newbie to the Marvel comic book world. We welcome you with open arms. The church doors are always open. We are here for your questions and reference if you choose. That being said, if you're one of those that grew up or watched the Infinity Saga, all 22 movies counting 22. All 22 movies counting Endgame, and then you go into Eternals thinking it's going to be like that. Keep in mind, the 22 movie Infinity War saga has concluded. This is Marvel now opening up the next chapter of the grand storytelling that they love to do. That being said, I would say keep expectations at a mid-level. Because I get it, promos, television spots, interviews, things that you see, the hype train is rolling. We understand this. But still, go in there with a different mindset. Because like I said, it's just like Guardians of the Galaxy. I would bet money before Guardians of the Galaxy came out, aside from guys like me and Joe, how many people could you honestly say knew about Guardians of the Galaxy? And not just the current team. I'm talking the first team.
The first team that makes a cameo in Guardians 2.
Right. So it's and people love it. And don't get me wrong, when the movie came out, Volume 1 and Volume 2, people loved it and people followed it and people went back and read the comics. That is the whole intent of what the movie's supposed to do. Cool. Let the same thing happen for Eternals. Because my thing is with Eternals, with Spider-Man Far From Home, let's just I hate to say this, even though Thanos is technically dead, but Thanos demands your silence. Let people enjoy the movie. And if you don't like it, just say you don't like it. But don't sit there and make it a campaign to destroy it, like Snyder fanboys. Yes, I'm going to point y'all out. Because you guys are the reason, aside from many other things, you Snyder fanboys, you will praise trash, but you will destroy masterpieces. Yes, I said it. So come at me if you will. But that being said, like I said before, Morbius definitely does look good. And yes, I guess I do have to talk about. Well, we're gonna talk about the elephant in the room before we get to the television reviews. Before we get to the
I'm
television
trying
reviews,
to lose weight. I keep telling you.
you're in better shape than me. What are you talking about? But yes, the elephant in the room. WWE. What in the world is going on in the world of the World Wrestling Entertainment Group? Because as of Thursday, an unfortunate cut had happened to at least more than a dozen wrestlers, and the list of who were let go was staggering. Keith Lee.
Yeah, but the tweets have been hilarious.
Oh, the tweets on Twitter have been comedy gold.
Karrion Kross is like, dude, what are you gonna do with that, homie? It's like, nobody wants that piece of trash.
Right. But for all those,
the Bearcat joke is still one of my favorites. Like, was that Vince? Yes.
Yes,
it was.
Yes, we knew. We knew it was him. But for those that didn't know who got released on Thursday, Keith Lee, Frankie Monet, who's also known as Taya Valkyrie, Ember Moon, Karrion Kross, Scarlett Bordeaux, Grand Metalik, Nia Jax, Harry Smith, Mia Yim, Eva Marie, Hit Rose, B Fab, which was really a surprise to me, Oni Lorcan, and Lince Dorado. As they sat there and said that, of course, through John Laurinaitis, who somehow is still employed in WWE.
Well, someone has to grease Vince's arms.
I guess so. But the reason that they said, and I still cannot believe this, that the line that's been given out was because budget cuts were the reason. Keep in mind, WWE had just recently announced that they made a quarterly profit of $256 million on an earnings call earlier that day. So, but the simple fact of the matter is, guys, as a wrestling fan, first and foremost, the list of that talent was a shock. I mean, Keith Lee, who in my mind is probably one of the, for Vince to love big men, that to me was like, that was the person that you supposedly wanted. You wanted big, beefy guys to run the program. And let's be honest, Keith Lee is probably, if not the top big guy who doesn't perform like a big guy. He actually performs like a cruiserweight at his weight and height. How many guys you know, I use this all the time, how many guys you know who are 300 plus pounds can do a Spanish fly off the top rope and trust him to execute it clean? Exactly, 2 people. Aside from him, 2 other people. And I think one of them is retired from wrestling, if memory serves me right. And
one of them is an indie wrestler that works out here often.
Yep. And that's why I was like, and this is why I sit there and say, with the whole idea of Keith Lee, Mia Yim, who in my mind should have never, she's just as talented.
Mick Foley put it best, like, she should never have been repackaged other than just Jade.
Yeah, Jade from TNA. Ember Moon, which was also one of my favorites just because of her personality and her wrestling style, because she was actually trained by Booker T from his reality of wrestling in Houston.
Supposedly she is really difficult to work with.
Say what?
So supposedly she is really difficult to work with.
They're calling her a Charlotte case?
Let's just say I have friends who have said she is very difficult to work with behind the scenes.
Damn. Also Karrion Kross, which I loved his gimmick in NXT. Him and Scarlett Bordeaux with the fall and pray, and it was just that TikTok, and that to me was one of his best promos. And he was actually a solid wrestler, which makes no sense because he had the NXT belt undefeated, went to Raw, and lost clean to Jeff Hardy as a champion who was undefeated, which I guess
and got a helmet put on him.
Yeah, and then got on the weird BDSM, I should have a safe word helmet put on, which again makes no sense. Nia Jax, Nia Jax is one of those ones where a lot of people consider her because she works so stiff, and yes, let's be honest, she has earned her share of blame for injuring many a women that she wrestled in the ring. Even the most safest of women, she actually injured what's her face? Dang it, I can't think of her name. There's Natalya. She injured Natalya, a woman who was trained in the Heart Dungeon and never really had an injury until she wrestled Nia Jax. Which again, I can make that argument that Nia Jax is a big girl and that most of the women that she fights, that she's wrestling with, she definitely does have a weight advantage, but again, she works stiff.
The other issue they had with her is that her weight was never under control. Because if you saw her when she was originally in NXT, she looked nothing like she did.
Oh no, she was way different. Her weight, she blossomed. She ballooned up.
They also said that if you read her Twitter, that she just asked to extend her mental health leave, and that's when they terminated her.
Yeah, which was weird that you think for all their talk of WWE helping their wrestlers that they're going to can somebody for mental health. Who else? Mia Yim. We talked about Mia Yim again. A wonderful talent who really should have got a lot more push than what she got. Eva Marie, I don't know why. Why bring her back after all that mess they had about her changing her color? She was wanting to be blonde. She went red. She brought in Dewdrop, which didn't really get Dewdrop over, but apparently got her cut. I don't understand it. But Hit Row, that was the one that I thought was crazy because of Swerve Scott and his faction Hit Row, that B-Fab has already been cut at a time that he was already in a match for the tag team contenders. So that didn't make any sense. And what also doesn't make any sense, of course, going to NXT, Oney Lorcan, which in my mind is one of the better workers of NXT, and Lince Dorado, who's actually a good luchador, and they let him go too. And so this is the problem where I have with WWE, and I say this with all the love in the world. It is going to be difficult to get kids to watch because I've said it best. I'm surprised the New Day didn't get cut yet. And I have a fear that with Austin Creed being King of the Ring, Big E is still the WWE champion, and Kofi is still in this faction. I feel like what WWE does, what always does, is that they split certain factions to make money. I mean, your money. I call them your money groups. Once you split those money groups, that's it. I mean, most tag teams don't do well after they split. Unless you're like the Dudley Boys, or unless you're like the Steiner Brothers, but technically only one of the brothers was still successful after that. And it's sad actually. So, but then again, it's like I don't get what WWE's trying to do, because last time I checked, when you were actually bumping up your profits and cutting your employees, you're kind of putting the company up for sale. And it's been long rumored that Vince is trying to get NBC to buy WB. Now, it's been rumored that the price is $2 billion. Will NBC pay it, or will they pass it by? All I know is if Ted Turner was alive, he'd be laughing his tail off right now, considering the fact that he tried to go head to head to Vince and he lost. But then again, Vince is surrounded by yes men, and it's more than obvious that Triple H is no longer running NXT, which again is very sad. But like Mick Foley said, a lot of those names on that list, would not be surprised if you do see them in AEW. Would not be surprised if you see them in New Japan. Wouldn't be surprised if you see them on the indie scene. I was going to say Ring of Honor, but just like me and Joe had pointed out in our last podcast, that Ring of Honor right now is taking a... I don't want to say they're gone, but they're reevaluating their product, which is a nice way of saying we released all our wrestlers to go out and still make money elsewhere, but we're trying to think about how we're going to bring Ring of Honor back, which again it's heartbreaking, especially if you're a wrestling fan, because outside WWE there's many other promotions. Ring of Honor was one of them. It's just sad that it went down that way. But now that we got the elephant out the way, just because I had to do that, because if I didn't, I would have been nuts. I'm going to talk about something fun. Switching gears to the Stargirl finale, Joe, and I want to know your opinions about it.
They pulled a Sam Jackson at the end of it.
Okay, for all those that don't know, Stargirl Summer School Chapter 13 finale did come up, and of course, this was the wrap-up to the Summer School arc for Stargirl. And just to go ahead and just briefly go over the synopsis of it, this was the main battle between Team Stargirl versus Eclipso, and yes, what Jenny did see in her dreams did come to fruition. Eclipso did take over Courtney while holding the cosmic staff, and finally, after a long and tenuous Greyhound bus ride between here and who else knows where he went, we actually finally saw Sylvester. Yes, we finally saw Starman show up and actually, I guess, with Courtney's help, I guess, I want to say exercised Eclipso from Courtney. That's about the best way I could put it.
That's probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah, so he exercised Eclipso from Courtney, and that was a surprise. What also was a surprise, well, not really, the Shade showed back up. As Joe pointed out last week, the Shade ain't dead. He decided, he's British. He makes his appearance when he wants to. And who also made their appearances, it seems to be this episode was a lot of appearances. The Thunderbolt finally came back from China. Sportsmaster, Tigress, Artemis all show up. Solomon Grundy makes an appearance for about a split second. And it just seemed like this. It was like a mosh posh of everybody teaming up to finally take Eclipso down. Of course, Eclipso does get what looks like a mortal shot on Solomon Grundy. If you know Solomon Grundy, he doesn't stay dead for long. Of course, now...
Or just say a Solomon Grundy will be back. Yeah. I really hope next season or whenever they bring him back, they bring him from the Starman iteration, and he's just Sully. So he's a smaller Solomon Grundy who has better speech.
Maybe. But that's going to be interesting because... of course, Eclipso was defeated when they all, of course, when you had Thunderbolt, Jenny, and Annie Courtney all basically turned him. And this was a funny part I wanted to point out. Because Jakeem, who was there with the Thunderbolt, said, I need to make it, what do you say, turn him to toast?
Yeah, toast him.
Toast him. And of course, what happens? Eclipso is now a piece of toast. Burnt toast. And
then Jim Gaffigan is like, it's a little burnt.
It was still funny. Of course, after that, it was the wrap up, and I thought the wrap up was interesting. That Beth's parents are really involved with her now. It's like yes,
it's complete role reversal where they're like, oh God, we gotta leave. This child just will not leave us alone too. Oh God, no parents, no.
It's like.
However, there was a comic book hint with what the parents said.
Yeah, that you needed.
Her redesigned costume that they were talking about is her actual comic book costume.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting. It kind of got her wish out of it. Of course, Dr. Midnighter was going to leave for now to find his wife and son. Now after Courtney's mom tells him, "Oh yeah, your wife's over here, and she's got a 10-year-old son." What? the look on his face.
Beth is the one that told her.
Yeah. That's what
Beth told him.
Yeah, Beth told her. And Beth told him. And I was like, okay, that's a nice little wrap-up. You're not getting rid of him, but he is going to be coming back. Cindy wants to join the JSA. And Yolanda, I think, only came back because Cindy still wants to be... It's that whole redemption arc of her wanting to be good. And Yolanda's like, I don't trust you. I'm sticking around as Wildcat because of this. And also, finally... Which, again, as Joe had pointed out, the Samuel L. Jackson moment that happened was that as they were all at breakfast, there's a knock at the door, and you see Sportsmaster, Tigress, and Artemis are like, hi, we're your new neighbors. And, of course, cut to Courtney. What the fuck?
Season 3, frenemies.
I have to give it that. I actually really did enjoy it because... Not only did it did a good wrap up, but at the same time, it was just, it was funny. I have to give it to him. The Thunderbolt and I meant to say this. Jakeem and Courtney's brother, and the Thunderbolt is going to be like its own, and I love the fact, of how they're doing this. Is that almost everybody has their own separate story for the next season. You're going to see Jakeem, the Thunderbolt, and Courtney's brother. You're going to see Jenny still be in the picture. Sylvester.
Next season we're going to be dealing with Obsidian. But we also get another villain / neutral guy.
So far. The Iceman's son, which I guess now that his grandparents are like, we must tell you about your origins. It was like... we kind of see another version of Ice Pick coming, but overall, I dug the episode. It was really good, and I do like the fact of what they're doing with Stargirl. It's not your normal, a baddie every week kind of thing, but they really did take 13 episodes to tell a complete story, and I had no issues with it. But Joe, what did you think of it?
I'm hyped for next season because we get Keith David as a potential bad guy.
That's going to be interesting.
We get Director Bones, and if you know the comics, you know that Director Bones and Sylvester Pemberton do not mesh well together.
That's why I'm going to lean on your expertise for that when it comes to that, because I don't remember that part, but I'm going to take a word for it.
So in the comics, Director Bones was still a bad guy.
Okay.
And he has a cyanide touch.
Oh, gotcha.
So he touches, at that point, Sylvester Pemberton in the comics, Skyman, killing him.
Gotcha.
And unlike most comic characters, Sylvester has not come back unless it's a time travel thing prior to his death.
Well,
so
let's just hope it's not another Greyhound bus thing again. I can't do the whole, let me go on a bus by chapter 4, and yet by chapter 13 I make it.
The interesting thing is that he is not in his villain attire. He's in his I run the DEO attire of Director Bones.
That's interesting. Still.
I just like that we get Keith David to voice a character. It's always fun when he comes back and does stuff.
That is true. As in, for all those that don't know,
I was just going to say, my favorite cameo is still the DuckTales episode.
I was going to say, it's still Gargoyles for me, but again...
Oh, no, that's what he was doing. He was Manny the Stone Horse, who when he finally gets ahead, he does the whole Goliath. They even play, like, the horse, like, breaking out of the stone, getting wings.
Yeah.
And doing the whole I live again.
Yeah.
And then his head gets knocked off, and then it gets put back on. It's like, I live again. Again.
That's still funny.
It's great. No, but back to Stargirl. Sorry, ranting.
No, you're good. Go for it.
This was a fantastic season. Of course, we all know I am terribly, terribly biased, especially when it comes to this sort of material. I have no shame in saying that. Everything was great. The only thing I wish they hadn't done is the child actor for Eclipso. He's great, but he doesn't need to laugh as much.
Yeah, it was kind of excessive.
Yeah, the whole giggling thing is not creepy. I think having a quiet child say very few but very adult things, especially with as young as that kid was, would have made it much creepier. But of course, it probably couldn't be that creepy anyways. But still,
he did say you're the wrong
also,
gender and the wrong color. Dang.
Shiv just kicking that poor little version of herself directly in the face.
That was still funny.
It's like, please don't hurt me, boot.
It's like you're not real. It's like field golder, but. Yeah, that was pretty good. And for all those that are wondering, I have not seen Eternals. Joe, have you seen Eternals yet?
Tomorrow night.
Okay, so we're both on the same page. So
I know that there's a mid-credit and end credit, much like Black Widow, and that's as much as I know.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, for all those that are wondering, we will come back and talk about the Eternals next Friday. And yes, by then it will be a spoiler-filled one. So again, we're giving you guys fair warning. 5 days would have passed between here and now, and that's because, like I said on how we do on Git Bit, the rule is we do not spoil what initially comes out. But after 5 days or so, open season, you had your chance. But it seems like me and Joe will both be watching Eternals come tomorrow. And like I said, please check out our IGs as we may post a quick tidbit of what we thought of it, but we'll go into full detail of it come next Friday on the Git Bit Podcast. So, I'm sorry, you were good?
Oh, no. I was going to say, and then 2 weeks from that, Ghostbusters.
Yes, Afterlife. Oh, that's going to be a wonderful Thanksgiving. It's gonna be weird. I've never really. I mean, is it? I got that. Was it the 24th? Was it released or 23rd?
No, 17. It's 17th. It's 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so 17th. So it's the week before Thanksgiving. Got it.
Yeah. So it's the 19th is when it officially drops.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely be in the theaters. I'm gonna probably.
I'm gonna be over in the Franklin Theater with the rest of the Ghostbusters.
So for all those that don't know, the Franklin Theater. If you're here, I'm sorry. If you're in Tennessee, by the way. Specifically, if you're in Middle Tennessee, because we don't want to. If y'all go looking for Ghostbusters in movie theaters and you're not in Tennessee, specifically Middle Tennessee, you're going to be disappointed. Unless they just happen to be there.
So I think they'll see Ghostbusters across the country in their theaters.
Well, if you want to see Joe as a Ghostbuster, is it the National Ghostbusters or Tennessee Ghostbusters? I forgot.
Tennessee Ghostbusters.
Yeah. So if you want to see Joe, the Tennessee Ghostbusters, they will actually be there at the Franklin. What was it called? The Thoroughbred?
The Franklin Thoroughbred AMC.
Thank you.
I know we plan on being there almost like from Thursday night through Sunday. I'll be there Friday night and Saturday night.
Gotcha. Okay, because I had to think about that for a second. I was like, okay, cool. So again, we'll be covering those, and like I said, I'm like, November and December are gonna be full of movies we want to go see. But again, the other television show I'm going to talk about very quickly as well, Batwoman, because again, I will say this, and I never thought I would say this, the showrunner must have gotten the assignment right. Episode 4, Antifreeze, which again was interesting because we got teased about Poison Ivy's vines wrapping up Mary at the end of the last episode, and in this episode she pops up with the vines around her, releasing her in a bench area where it looks like a thorn of some type is stuck in her arm. Again, this was very good because I was expecting Poison Ivy or expecting the new Ivy character that was written for Batwoman in the comics. But there was some interesting foreshadowing as we were still trying to figure out who's still using Mr. Freeze's equipment. Another thing I thought was interesting was the introduction of the Black Glove Society, which again, for all those that don't know, the Black Glove Society was kind of like a bunch of rich people playing the Purge in DC. That could possibly mean that we might be seeing a long lost ancestor of Bruce Wayne, Dr. Hurt. Now that's just speculation because of the Black Glove Society and because Dr. Hurt was ahead of that. I mean, we may see that, we may not. The only part of this episode I didn't like about was Alice and her hallucinations. I still say she's one of those characters that's just missing a story. They're just having to shove her in. I just thought that part was a little bit off. Of course, Robin Givens playing Jada Jet as she tries to take over Wayne Enterprises through Ryan. It's not bad. Again, it's a different story. It's different from Kate Kane. I can live with this and see where it comes to. The crown jewel of this episode, though, I did like the fact about Luke having issues with the Batwing suit. They were covering the true story of PTSD and that Luke may have it after being shot, and that's the reason why the Batwing suit doesn't work well when he has the failsafes installed, in which his father's AI was basically telling him at this point, you're not ready. I like the fact that, again, it focused on a different character than Ryan Wilder and Batwoman. It shows that there are other characters that can give depth to it. So overall, if you haven't seen Batwoman, especially this new season, I would highly recommend giving it a shot. Just because they have finally let go of the Kate Kane situation. And they're kind of moving toward a new storyline with new characters. And again, I am all for it. So, that also being said, guys, before we get over to Joe and this news and comic book top 5 that he has, he did also thank you, Joe, for this as well, because he did remind me that Chris Pratt will not be in Devil May Cry. He will be in I'm sorry, I am so brain dead. Aside from the Super Mario Brothers, he will be in Heathcliff, if I remember right. Garfield, wrong cat. So
Garfield, but the new design does look very reminiscent of Heathcliff.
Because that's the reason why I said Heathcliff. Because I'm like, that's Heathcliff. It's not Garfield. But then again, it's two sarcastic cats when one has a love for lasagna and the other one just chooses to be petty. So take it how you will. But yes, I did mention Devil May Cry, and no, not because we're going to be expecting a new DMC game. I'm looking at you, Team Ninja. You need to hurry the hell up. But I am talking about the anime. Netflix, who is on a roll as of late. If you have not seen Squid Game or what's the newest one I saw? Midnight Mass. Also, if you are a child, please don't watch Midnight Mass. We don't want you going back to your parents and giving that type of conversation not ready for. But again, Netflix has came out and they've really been hitting out the park with a lot of their movies and television shows. However, Devil May Cry is one of those ones that they themselves are now releasing. And they have released, of course, through comicbook.com, that Netflix's Devil May Cry anime will have multiple seasons. Now, for all those that don't remember, there was a previous version of Devil May Cry that was actually produced by Madhouse. I want to say almost, it would have been 9-10 years ago by now. There was really only 7 episodes.
Fine.
Say what?
It was fine.
It was okay. It was okay.
Kind of boring in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, for what we were getting for Devil May Cry, it was okay. I mean, it wasn't like on the Star Wars level of you could watch it again and get all the same goosebumps. But for 7 episodes, it wasn't bad. However, in this adaptation, we will be seeing multiple seasons, and it will actually have Dante and Virgil. For a lot of people are wondering, so where's Nero going to be in all this? They did not mention it, but I would not be surprised if they do actually do go to his character, considering the fact of how much of impression Nero did have in DMC5. So I'm looking forward to that. They're actually at this point, I don't think they gave a release date on this yet, but let me double check. Coming soon. So there you go. It's coming soon. So they didn't actually give a release date yet for it as far as the actual, as far as when the anime will hit Netflix. But again, if you haven't seen Netflix yet, Squid Game, Midnight Mass, The Harder They Fall, I know I'm forgetting a few. Kim's Convenience. If you have not seen that, a very, very, very good show. Very underrated show. And I know I'm forgetting something else. There was another show that was also pretty good as well.
What else am I watching on Netflix right now? There's the He-Man series.
Oh yes, Revelation Part 2, which will be coming out very soon.
And the 2 final Rurouni Kenshin live-action movies.
Still need to go back and go watch those. Rurouni Kenshin is still one of my favorite animes.
One of them covers Samurai X.
Interesting.
And the other one covers the arc that never got animated.
Oh, okay. I have to go back and go watch that.
The one with his technical former brother-in-law.
Yeah, the one that was in manga but never got animated. I know which one you're talking about.
Yep.
But yeah. But beyond that, Joe, that's really all that I have from my side, sir. What do you got in your neck of the woods?
Still gaming Guardians of the Galaxy on Tuesdays with that sucker for 2 hours. Save for last Tuesday, I was way too tired of work. Mondays is Mobile Suit Mondays. We're still doing Gundam Battle Operations 2. We are also now moving into the new Mobile Suit Gundam single-player spin-off of Battle Operations, which is Operation Noisy Fairy.
Okay.
Which actually dropped yesterday, which was obviously why they dropped me, because it was the father of Gundam, Yoshiyuki Tomino's 80th birthday.
Yay!
That man is old and suffers from depression. And when he gets depressed, 85% of your cast is going to die.
Well, that's true.
Just look at Zeta Gundam. He got really upset during the end of Zeta Gundam. 80% of your characters didn't make it to double Zeta.
That is true. I can't argue. I didn't think about that. I was like, yeah.
And then let's look at what happens when he was fully depressed and made Victory Gundam.
Dang.
Were you part of that all-female task force squadron? Yeah, you didn't live long.
Nope. That was that was a body count that I was yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, Noisy Fairy, you are playing in the Universal Century during the 1-year war. You are stationed in September.
Okay.
You are a all-female battalion who is running covert ops for Kasuya Zabi. You are the leader in a experimental high-speed Zaku. You have a partner in a specialty sniper-type Zaku. And your other partner is in a different type Zaku, which is a assault Zaku with a rotary gun and more sensor-based.
Interesting. So they're running as a 13 operation.
For those of you who don't know, I've said it on the VODs, I was a giant fan of Zeonic Front from the PlayStation 2 era. Mm-hmm. This game is very much what's the best way to put it? You're playing an anime, because every 2 missions, you get a theme song, an ending theme, and a preview for the next mission.
Oh, that's just basically playing Dragon Ball.
Unfortunately, I only let it play twice. I have to skip the opening credit and the ending credits to avoid DMCA. God bless. That one did not. I was not expecting that. But the second mission, they outright say, "Oh, hey, we got this scanning technology from this team over on the California coast, and it is the Zeonic Front team." Like, they literally say, it's like, we got this from Midnight Fenrir. Apparently, they've been dealing with this weird mobile suit, and they pass it on. And if you've played Zeonic Front, they're basically fighting Gundam Unit 4, the Sandrock Gundam.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember if I played it or not. Keep
It's
going.
a Gundam that has the same maneuverability as a Dom.
Gotcha.
But it also has the GM gun cannon shoulders.
Oh. Maybe I... No. I'm thinking the Super NES game. Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah. I popped real big for that because, like I said, the first thing I saw when I saw the video was like, oh, they're making a new Zeonic Front. It's like, oh, it's done in the system of Battlefront. And as soon as the first episode was like, yeah, we got this from the Midnight Fenrir guys. I know those guys.
I saw... why did I see a Thor Ragnarok reference coming? I know him!
But
they're friends from work. I don't know why I thought that was coming. That was a perfect setup.
But it is good. You also get top from story mode. You get what's called situation mode, which is kind of like their random battle arena. You can get more mobile suits you can use in the simulator mode, or parts to use in another mode. So, like, one was defeat 20 Zaku 2s in 5 minutes.
Okay.
That's a lot harder when you're also Zaku 2s.
I was going to ask you, not to go off subject, how far are you in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Where am I? On stream, I am just landing in nowhere.
Okay.
And on my own personal playthrough, because I am doing my own little playthrough on the side, so I can experience the game with the music, I am all just got out of the rock.
Gotcha. I haven't started yet. I'm kind of playing vicariously through you right now because I have it downloaded, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
I did meet Jack Flag. Unfortunately, I think I only sent him deeper into the rock.
Nice.
On accident. I hit a button and I probably shouldn't have.
Did you really do that on accident?
Well, I thought if I was going to hit the button, it would release and not push him deeper into the prison on accident. We also learned where in the timeline this is in Marvel Comics.
Okay.
This happens after the Thanos Imperative.
Okay, so you was right.
Yeah, so this happens after Peter Quill gets out of the Cancerverse.
Gotcha.
But Richard is still in the Cancerverse because in Nowhere you find that in the Intergalactic Memorabilia Museum, you find his helmet.
Gotcha.
You also find Stan Lee's aviator glasses. That's very sweet.
There's gonna be a nod to Stan Lee. God bless that man. There's gonna be a nod to him in every Marvel game, as it should be.
Other game news. If you are still somehow playing the Avengers, first off, good on you. You have more patience than I do. At the end of the month, they finally announced that we will be getting the Spider-Man content.
I'm sorry. You say you got more patience. Go ahead.
More patience than I do, and I work at a hospital, people.
I stopped playing after the first campaign and after War for Wakanda. I was done, but you're right. You gotta have patience. I
will go ahead and re-download that game just to see what their Spider-Man content is like, because the president of Square Enix has already thrown Crystal Dynamics completely under the bus in an interview this week, saying, well, their game wasn't as profitable as we like, and maybe we shouldn't have said, maybe Crystal Dynamics shouldn't have made this a live service. Like, you MFers are probably the ones that push for a live service game.
Mm-hmm. So that just goes to tell you if the game director is already throwing blame, you can.
Oh no, it's not the game director. It is Square, the parent company.
The parent company's throwing blame.
Yeah, Square Enix is saying it's like Crystal Dynamics had made a live service. It might have succeeded. It's like,
oh, so you already know it's gonna be bad.
Oh yeah, but of course they're over there praising Eidos Montreal. It's like the Guardians of the Galaxy game is so good. It's so fresh.
And they just released a patch for it, so I'm like, oh, well, I don't know because I had to come off Far Cry 6, and I love Far Cry 6, but their patchwork finally fixed the loading times, thank God, because they got annoying after a while. But their latest patch actually fixed it, and the story, like I said before, guys, I know I said Far Cry 6 last week was a great game. You still should play it. It had an interesting twist to it, and like I said before, there is DLC for it. If you did actually pay the money, you will see a DLC from the 3 most iconic villains in Far Cry. Vasquez from, I think, 3, Pan from 5. No, Pan from 4, and then you have the Preacher from 5. There we go. So, no idea how you're going to be playing these villains. I don't know if you're going to be playing them from their perspective or you're playing them from a separate side story. For all those that are wondering, at this point, the group that created Far Cry hasn't really said much about it yet from Ubisoft. But again, they said that DLCs will be coming in the near future. So all I can say for is I'm looking forward to it. But if there's any game I'm looking forward to, I need to hear about it. Gears. I'm Xbox, Microsoft. I am looking at you guys. We need a Gear 6. I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually, as Joe's getting ready to do his next segment, I'm going to go ahead and just take this moment. The fact that, of course, I played the original Gears of War 1, 2, 3, and also Judgment, and again, loved it all. 4 and 5. Gears 4 and Gears 5. Again, Gears 5 felt short. The fact of the matter was, there was an interesting twist in the game in which I had to pick a teammate to save and pick a teammate to die. How very Mass Effect of you. But now it's just like, where is the story of the Swarm? Because that has to have a conclusion somewhere. Especially with the fact that, of course, we already know that Marcus is probably set up to die in 6, but it's like, come on already. We need to have a conclusion. 5 just can't be it. Nobody asked for multiplayer maps in 5. Don't multiplayer map us to death. Give us something like Hive Busters. That was a great DLC to play. But I'm done with the maps and the content. Give us stuff that we can actually play. That's just my soapbox. But anyway, but Joe, what else you got?
Like I said, we are going to be hopefully launching the full comic book series next Wednesday.
Ooh!
I found a co-host.
So you gotta tell people what are we? I'm curious. What's the name? I know you told me,
comic
but
box.
Say it again. I'm sorry. I talked over you. Say it again.
The comic box.
Nice.
We're still shopping names.
Gotcha. So the maiden voyage of the soon to be titled the comic box. Where can they find it, sir? Are you gonna where are you gonna be broadcasting? I should say. I'm just curious.
I guess we'll do it on Twitch, and I'll just download and toss it over to you.
Okay. So it'll be on the Git Bit YouTube, but also since we're talking about Twitch, Joe, where can they find your Twitch stuff before you go?
Joe Italian last name.
That is still awesome, and I wish I could use. And I wish I could use.
I do no business live, but I get decent views on VOD, so I'll take it.
I wish I could use that. It won't fit me because they'll look at me and go, "Really, Italian? You? I love Italian. I'm not Italian, but I love it."
I mean, my other choice was Joe Goodstrong, Japanese name.
No, I don't think we want that type of heat. But what else? What else you got, Joe?
Yeah. So we may be shifting stuff around. I may have to shift Anime Wednesdays over to because of the show. That's when me and the co-host will be doing stuff. I said we're Mobile Suit Mondays, Guardians Tuesdays, Shield Mom and Pal Thursdays. Or Thursdays may just be general stuff. I don't know.
Shield Mom and Pals.
Still want to finish Tales of Arise.
No, Shield Mom and Pals. We're sticking with that. If I can find a way to patent that, I'm sticking with that.
It's only for that game, and like I said, I was joking, and then they literally just say it in the game. So,
oh, that's still funny. But any comic books you want to recommend, sir?
Oh yeah, we got. It was actually really light for Marvel this week. In fact, I have almost no Marvel, which is surprising.
Okay, what you got?
So first off, we got an indie book, which is Crossover by Donnie Cates, art by Jeff Shaw. This is issue 9. This is picking up from the previous issue where the preacher's son, whose name escapes me, and our main character Ellie have been taken in by the police. We find out that the preacher's son's father, the preacher, has been taken in by police for attempted murder of some comic book characters. However, the police are also working with him at the same time because he's naming names of potential victims, because potential victims right now are comic book writers.
Interesting.
Meanwhile, we are seeing like a plethora of characters being arrested and processed. Most notably Savage Dragon, which is kind of ironic because he is a cop. And we see Wolverine being let off and other characters by several names.
Wolverine went willingly? Wolverine went willingly?
I mean, he's not putting up a fight, and he's in the brown and yellow costume.
Dang, okay.
So he is at the preacher's son, whose, like I said, name escapes me at the moment. He's asking where's Ellie being our main character. We find Ellie is in a green room with the two cops from the show Powers.
Okay.
We also learned something interesting from them, from Dina and Christian, who are the cops, is that when the characters came over, they are dependent on where they are in whatever book they came from, meaning it's not like they came from the final page or the final chapter of the book.
Okay.
In this particular version, Christian and Dina are in the early part of the book where they came from. However, I do like that Ellie just looks at them and it's like, I'm not doing it. And then they just have this back and forth, and Dina's like, all right, not do what? It's like, this is literally the entire setup from your book. There's a green room. You're going to have this quippy back and forth between you guys, and then it gets to me. And then speech bubbles are going to fill up 50% of this page.
So they're going fourth wall. Fourth wall? Really? I was like, what's going to happen?
Yeah. And then they have this small thing with like Powers thing. That's what she said. Well, yeah, I know. I heard it. That's what she said. Well, what is that? Have you heard of it? No, I have not. And Dina's like, that right there. You're doing it. They're like, man, you need to calm down.
Oh, you got love storytelling when it says, I'm just gonna lay this out for you. Oh, we're not gonna do that, and literally go right into it.
Yeah, no, they're like, we're on your side. Do you prefer Ellie? It's like, no one's gonna hurt you. And he's like, technically, Dina, you did haze her. And then Dina's like, look, she had a sword half the size of a football field on her. What do you want me to do?
Right.
Meanwhile, Ellie's just sitting there stunned that this is still continuing in front of her. She's like, fine, screw it. Let's do the Powers thing, just so we can move forward. And then, sure enough, they're in back and forth. 50% of this page is taken up with dialogue bubbles that are in like a sequential order that you have to read a certain way to understand the flow of dialogue.
All I have to ask, is there an annoyed person looking at the reader?
No, but she's trying to play it as straight as possible.
Dang.
And then the overhead lamp is projecting green, and then Dina makes the thing is like, what part of the book are you guys from? And they're like, what do you mean? She's like, all right, Dina, how much do you know about Christian? It's like, well, I mean, no. She's like, no, of his origin, not his superhero origin, his actual origin.
Right.
She's like, his what? And Christian's like, we need to move on. So she's like, okay, you are early trades. All right.
Oh, man.
So then they just kind of look at each other like, all right, keep talking. So then, like, Ellie explains how everything works out in them. And it's like, so she puts out, like, look, someone's killing these writers and creators.
All right.
What if they're what if the killer is not a killer, but the killers? It's like, what do you mean? It's like, what happens when you find out the man, your god, is just a nerd in a writing room with a typewriter?
Dang.
I think you'd be a little mad.
A little mad.
So then she goes like, but if they kill them, what happens to you? So they mean like, all right, get an APB on Bendis and Oming.
Dang.
So, like, you know, then they ask a really interesting question to Ellie, because Ellie is very clearly a comic character, but she is not from any of the comics that have been introduced in there. She's not from Image or Wildstorm or apparently Marvel or DC. She's her own character. So they ask her, well, who made you? Meanwhile, it jumps over to the preacher and his son, and the preacher's just basically a white, wet, redneck.
Try to say that 5 times fast.
The type.
Okay.
He is just the easy. They are different from us, so they're all sinners and whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah. The son, however, he wants to be a comic writer. He's like, really super. So they hear that, like, the writer of Saga.
Okay.
It's like, I think the dad says, like, yeah, I think I just heard something happening in the news. It's like, so the cop watching it was like, whoa, crap. So the son's like, what are you saying? He's like, he came to me. You're a villain. He's killing all your comic book writers one by one. I know who he is. I know what he is. I know why he's doing this. And if you let me go, I can take him to you. Take you to him.
Okay.
So he's like, the son's like, you're lying. Why would he even do this? Why comic book writers? And he was like, it's real easy. He wanted to meet his maker. So the cop that's in there, it's like, nope, screw this. He calls Dina and Christian, and they are over in front of a movie theater, which the marquee is the Mask of Zorro. So there's your first hint of how bad this is going to turn out. So Scott Snyder's been murdered.
Dang.
And they found the murder weapon. But they don't know what it is. We do.
I'm afraid that's what it looks like.
It's a batarang. But it's a very specific batarang.
Tim.
Nope.
Really? Dang, that was my first bet.
Yeah, who's the one Batman that would be crazy enough to kill his own comic book creator?
Jason.
The Batman Who Laughs.
Really?
Possibly. I'm fairly certain that is his batarang.
Ah, okay. I was like, of all the Batmans I was thinking about.
Speculation on my part, but Scott Snyder is dead. We know that the preacher said he is what he is, who he is, why he's doing this, and he's crazy enough to do something.
Huh, okay.
And Scott Snyder's dead, and like I said, this is purely speculation, only on the batarang side. But what killed Scott Snyder is a batarang.
But still, well, I guess the more I think about it, yeah, I guess that would be right.
So
I guess that
we'll
would
have
be.
to see, and we'll have to see how much they're playing ball with DC on this.
Oh, they're playing loose with DC on that.
With Donny Cates and whatnot, because Matt Fraction, or Chip Zdarsky, comic book Chip Zdarsky's already dead, so.
Dang. So they just said bump the body count. We're just going to just go ahead and throw this in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's it for that one. Crossed over really good. Bumping over, we got Justice League Infinity Part 5, JMD Mateus and James Tucker writers.
Okay.
Ethan Beavers is the artist. The Justice League, the Multiverse Justice League has found Wonder Woman right after the death of Darkseid. Diana gets to meet President Superman. She goes and buries that dark side. We see the rest of the other Justice League. We see a Hispanic Flash, a Silver Age Martian Manhunter, a version of Kyle Rayner, which I love. Apache Chief is just kind of hanging out in the background. Unity? I guess it's Unity.
Yeah, what is it? Unity is what you're trying to say?
Well, yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce it. It's Unatti.
Unity.
Okay. It just threw me off. We see a Hawkman and everything else. Diana immediately tries to go and make friends with Unity. She is like, no. You came from a Themyscira that worked out. I didn't. You back off.
Dang. That's not hateful at all.
No, she is mean. So Superman tells the tale of how everyone got together. President Superman got shunted into the Nazi world that Superman was in with the good General Zod, the female Metallo, and the Emil Hammond that became Doomsday.
Okay.
They eventually do take the fight to Vandal Savage. Unfortunately, at this point, Vandal Savage does get General Zod, but Vandal Savage is also super duper old because he is not immortal. He just ages like, I think, 1/32 of our rate. So he is
way old.
He's an old man. He's like 80 years old during World War II.
Dang. Okay.
But I mean, he's also been alive since caveman days. So
true.
So that goes on. They find out what's powering the German war machine, and it's a horrific mutated version of A. John Jones of that one. Everyone finds each other. We find out that Unity and President Superman are married in this continuity. The mutant John Jones dies in front of Silver Age John Jones, and then they all take off the thing. There's also one really, really great panel of artwork where Superman's like, yeah, it's a little awkward knowing that in another universe, we/they are married, and like Dana's like, ugh. It's like, yeah.
That wasn't an awkward joke at all.
Oh no, you should totally see him. She's like looking away, got that really face. It's like, yeah. That's great, Clark. So, Silver Age Martian Manor finds out what's going on. They enter the Mirrorverse, and the rest of the Justice League, or Superman's Justice League, is in their already defeated, just floating in the mirror dimension.
Okay.
So we don't know what's happened to them. But yeah, good on that one. We're moving into some of the spoopy stuff now. First of these spoopy things, which is a 12-part miniseries called DC versus Vampires.
Only because it's Halloween?
No, this is like a 12-issue miniseries.
Oh.
Because if for those of you not aware, Batman Red Rain is the most profitable DC Elseworlds book ever, where Batman is a vampire.
Oh, I saw screenshots of that. Okay.
So this is written by James Tynion IV and Matthew Rosenberg, with art, color, and main cover art by Otto Schmidt. This starts off with iVampire Andrew Bennett trying to get to the Hall of Justice. He is wrapped up as much as he can. Still kind of burning himself up because he actually gets hit by a car. Mm-hmm. Starts being burnt alive by the sun because he is a vampire. We also see Ollie hiding in the shadows for some reason. Not sure why. But Hal saves iVampire from burning to death in the sun. And then it's like, hey, why are you here? Zahn from the Super Friends shows up for whatever weird reason. And Bennett tells his tale. It's like, hey, Mary, the Queen of Blood, and the leader of the vampires died. She was murdered. And because she's dead, she was the only thing keeping vampires from invading your world.
And now they got,
she was pretty much keeping everybody chill. She's dead now, so the vampires are not chill, and it's like they're humans, they're lesser than us, we can take them easy. So so of course they asked Bennett, hey, did you do this? Because we know you didn't see eye to eye. And Ben's like, yeah, I didn't like her, but I also know starting a war on Earth is not the smartest thing to do, so no.
Right.
It's like, also, she was my ex, and despite we had a trouble past, still no. He's like, so I tried tracking down her killer, and it led me to the Legion of Doom. I went into the Legion of Doom's headquarters and found everybody dead.
Dang.
Everybody is dead, and they are the work of the vampire, and it's very possible that they will be coming back shortly.
Just a mop-up job, just in case we missed anybody.
Yeah. However, there was one survivor, and that was Lex Luthor, who has done something to his blood
to make him to make him undesirable.
Yeah.
Sounds like Lex Luthor.
So he writes out a note, hands it to Bennett, takes a vial of his own blood, says, give it to the League, and please kill me. Ben's like, I'm not doing that. It's like, look, I took down a lot of them, but my fight's over. The ones that aren't dead are going to come back, and they know they can't keep me, so they're just going to torture me to death. And I would really prefer not to have that happen. Oh, by the way, before you kill me, make sure the world knows it was me who saved them.
And there it is.
Yep. So we get to see a vampiric Gorilla Grodd, and probably the scariest thing, a vampiric Scarecrow is hunting. We see that Luthor, they find the body of Luthor. Bennett gets out of there, or tries to. The Riddler intercepts him, who's already a vampire. He stabs and injects Riddler with just a little bit of blood, and Riddler immediately disintegrates into a thing of ash.
Dang. I don't know, a vampiric Scarecrow. Dang, fear toxin on top of vampire powers? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's different. But not a bad idea, though. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So Bennett's telling how it's like, look, they've already taken over the Legion of Doom. They've already installed vampires in other places. They're preparing for war. They could literally be anywhere.
Yeah.
Zahn is like, and we should believe you why. And Hal's like, now, we know you're upset. He has a point. If the vampire plans to take over the world, the Legion's already fallen, and all of this being told to us by a vampire.
Right.
So then Hal asks, like, so do you have any proof? No. Has anyone else seen this letter and or do you have the bloodstone on you? No, I lost it, and no one else has seen this letter. I came to tell you, Lee, because I couldn't trust anyone else. And Zan's like, okay, well, I'll go get him. And Andrew's like, they're here, and then we see Hal restraining Zahn, and then Hal's like, oh, for God's sakes. So Hal's a vampire.
Never mind. Nope. If I think about it, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'll say it because you know I hate Hal Jordan with an undying passion.
I do. But it's like, how did they turn him? They turned.
Oh, no, he actually explains this on how he can be a vampire and still be out in the daylight. It just said that someone snuck up on him and he evolved. He takes care of Zahn in one of the most twisted ways possible, but also somewhat fitting for someone who always turned into buckets of water and ice. He just makes a giant blender and blends Zahn into a smoothie.
Damn.
Hal even says it's like he's a good kid, but
A little
what
twisted.
about it us?
Good kid, a little twisted, but you made a zombie smoothie.
Then Hal just like has a mug full of Zon, and so it's like I prefer fresh blood, but on occasions I don't mind a smoothie. Takes a sip, and of course he makes the only Super Friends joke. And it's like, bit watery, but not bad.
Dang. Just dang.
So Vampire just asks him point blank. It's like, how are you able to go out into the sun? You're a vampire. It's like, here's the interesting thing about sunlight. It works on multiple frequencies of light, and I'm a Green Lantern. My ring is nothing but how light works. So, ultraviolet light, visible light, infrared light, my ring can do everything, including filtering it away from me. He is technically not wrong.
He's not wrong. It's an honorable mention for Reach of the Year, but he's not wrong.
Yeah. So he's like, the very interesting thing is I can also project this and still be fine. So he kills our vampire. So he's like, before I do this, I will extend a courtesy to you. Be honest with me. Did you tell anybody else? He's like, no. All right. It's the fact that we are both vampires and you were honest with me. I will make this quick so you don't suffer.
Okay.
So he kills our vampire. At least we see the burning corpse. I doubt Bennett's dead. No, we do also see a pile of ash. So Bennett is dead. We also have some monologuing by Bennett. Hal pops on a phone and says, hey, it's done. He told no one. Had to take care of the kid. No, that's his sister. No, that's the monkey. Yes, I'm sure I took care of the right one.
Dang.
He's like, no, there's not going to be evidence. Just let me pour this blender out in the sink and wash out the sink. There won't be any evidence. It's one of the twins. It's not important.
Dang.
It's Hal. He's a jerk regardless of what he is.
True, but still, damn.
So he literally pours Zon out into the drain, and Aquaman comes in. It's like, hey, Batman called a meeting. Hal's like, yep, sorry, washing up. Something I ate didn't agree with me. So he's
man.
yeah, I know. It's Hal being Hal. Remember, he's a pilot.
Yeah, but still, the pun after it all. Just somebody didn't agree with me. Just you could hear the rim shot in my head.
So he's like, "Where's Queen? No one's seen him in days." So we automatically know that means Ollie's already found out about the vampire takeover and has already gone into hiding.
Nice.
Hal's like, "No, but it's Ollie. He'll turn up." And Aquaman's like, "Why is it so dusty in here? Don't worry about it. Come on, Batman's waiting." Batman returns. Apparently, Bennett did go to the Batcave first, spoke with Alfred. Alfred hands over the note and the vial of blood.
Still fighting about Lex Luthor. Let the world know I saved them all.
No, he also wanted me to tell you that Lex Luthor may just save the world.
Just what was Batman's response?
Yep. So, yeah, good intro. Interesting premise. I wouldn't mind it. There's going to be some weird leaps in logic of how some of this is going to work. Because I guess we're going to have to catch Clark under a red sun and then infect him.
But still, I guess.
That would be the only thing.
I would think Kryptonite then bite him. He's already weak enough. I would think red sun would make him human, which is true. But okay.
I mean, it's Hal, so you have one of the best things to screw with people as a lantern.
True, especially that one that has no problem making people into Slurpees.
Nope. Bouncing on over, we got this is another new miniseries that's coming out. It's also the first of 12. It is Dark Knights of Steel by Tom Taylor and art by Yasmin Purtry. This starts off on Krypton, exploding, only except this time Jor-El and Laura actually go flee the planet, and Laura gives birth to Cal on Earth.
So it's an Elseworlds?
Unfortunately, on this Earth, it's ye old medieval times.
Oh, steel of Superman. Oh, steel of man. I don't know how that would go. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, like, they give birth, like, right in front of the kingdom. A whole bunch of forces think they're intruders. They fire arrows as Laura's giving birth. Unfortunately for them, Yellow Sun, angry father-to-be defending pregnant wife.
Doesn't end well.
Vision.
Yeah, it doesn't end well moment for a guy whose powers have just been acclimated.
Mm-hmm. Some years down the road, we are in the Kingdom of Storms. We see a young man foretelling things such as the Green Man waits, fire and blood, gods are being born and gods are being killed. We see that the ruler of the Kingdom of Storms is Jefferson Pierce.
Okay.
Who actually looks really cool in his Black Lightning King costume.
Interesting.
We also see that the man sitting there down below, spouting on this thing, is a very young version of John Constantine. Pierce just asks us outright, like, all right, kid, enough with all the mumbo jumbo. What is it that you see? He just gets up and he goes like, our fucking end.
Oh, a young John Constantine as a magician. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this goes even further into the future, to 19 years in the future, to the Castle of El. Apparently, Jor-El and Laura just like took up camp and became king and queen of this.
Okay.
We see young Clark talk to young Bruce as he and Alfred, who I guess is the captain of the Knights, has to go deal with something. Bruce has Batman armor because, of course, he does.
Right.
Tells Clark, no, stay behind. Remember, you're the prince. I am just a lonely B-word. We'll just say that.
The traditional night words that ends in mustard.
So, he comes up to his spies, which are the Robins.
Mm-hmm.
So Richard and Duke, which means, hey, look at that. Someone's using Duke for a change. Look, that's not my fault. They introduced him and then just tossed him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
So they're tracking someone called the Banshee. When I first read this, I honestly thought they were like finding like ye old silver Banshee.
Yeah.
Because this would fit in like, a medieval setting.
Right.
So the other Robins are evacuating the inn, meaning that there are other Robins. We see Jason dragging someone out. Stephanie's there. So his 4 Robins right now are Stephanie Brown, Jason Todd, Duke, and Dick Grayson. Bruce goes in himself, confronts Banshee, and it turns out it's ye old Black Canary. She even refers to him as the bastard Bat Prince. This is going to keep coming up a lot.
Of course. That does kind of fit with the theme anyway, but go ahead.
Well, that particular moniker comes up a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So Batman's like, were you assassin set by King Jefferson? She's like, look, I don't want to hurt the elves. No matter how much they wish upon me. My name's Dinah. I'm just trying to sleep at the inn for a night. I got powers, but if you want to make something of it.
I don't want to fight, but hey, you can run it if you want to.
Yeah, Bruce is like, no, magic and your kind is outlawed in this kingdom. You're just violating the law by being here. You're going to be in prison. She's like, okay. And immediately does her canary cry, and Bruce somehow makes it out with just minor ear bleeding, and even Dinah's like, how are you alive?
Dang.
And Bruce is like, yeah, I have no idea. So she canary cries him again at point blank, and then Clark just like immediately appears.
Dang.
It's like, oh, you don't look like a monster, but you do look scared. So he just, and then she gets like Batman just like pommel smashes her in the back of the head, knocks her out.
Interesting.
Clark is like, so are you sure you're fine? Because you're bleeding from your ears a fair amount. And you know, it's Batman, so it's like, fine.
Yeah. In traditional Batman, it's like...
Clark just calls him on this BS like, yes, because stoicism is a well-known treatment for brain injury.
I give it to the puns in this one. The puns are killing
I like it. We bounce back to the Castle of Elves. We see, of course, the court jester is thankfully not the Joker, but Harley Quinn.
Close enough.
Close enough, but it's also just kind of fun because she's making fun of everything. Especially, like, she has, like, this really nice relationship with Batman. And, like, we see Clark's like, Harley, just leave him alone. He's had a rough day. We gotta go see my parents anyways. So, you know, they're talking to the parents. Superman's like, why? She wasn't coming for us. There was no reason to imprison her. She was just passing through. Meanwhile, Bruce is like, no, she's probably the one. One of my Robins said Jefferson's Court. My Robin in Jefferson's Court learned of a magical assassin that's supposed to be coming. And then Clark's like, well, we still have no proof that it's her. Just because she's magical doesn't mean she's the one. And then Bruce is like, they're not innocent. They're magic people. And we have to protect your parents because magic can hurt you guys. Or do you keep forgetting this? Jor-El's like, look, we are literally, you mean your mother, are literally the last of our kind. I will deem what is ever necessary to protect us.
Right.
And of course, Bruce and Mia is just like, yeah, and I will do everything I can protect you too. And Laura, like, tells us, like, your parents were friends of ours and our monarchs, and they gave us the throne ruling when we died so that we could watch over you as if you were our own son. And even Jor-El's like, look, if I'd had it my way, you'd be king and I'd be serving you.
Huh.
And Clark is just to me is like, yeah, they see you as a god and me as a bastard. So that'll never happen.
Oh, man.
And then Clark is like, and who cares? You are technically the rightful heir to the throne. It's like, the entire kingdom cares. The kingdom I serve.
Right. Just wow.
This is a big back and forth between these two. So Jor-El's like, all right, come on. Bruce, walk with me. So they have this nice little, like, thing, and Bruce is like, so the Banshee, like, used her powers on me, and I should be dead, but I'm not. And, like, the magic, and then when that green man attacked you, I should have died, but I didn't, and, like, do you know what's going on? Jor-El's like, yeah, so am I cursed? Is this dark magic on me? Do I need to be banished or locked away to protect myself from you? And then off on a tree, somewhere we see Ollie and ye old Green Lantern enchant an arrow. He shoots the arrow into the air. Arrow hits Jor-El directly in the eye.
Ooh.
Heals him in front of Bruce, and then lightning strikes. And Bruce's eyes are red.
Okay.
So, yeah. So the bastard son thing may be true in different ways.
Right. Sounds like it. That's wow. That story is that is a lot of wow in that one. But what else you got, Joe? Because we're kind of starting to
we got our last one. This is something I was really looking forward to. This is Human Target. Brief history on this. The series has been going on since 1953. This particular character was introduced in 1972. It's actually had 2 television series, one in the 90s and one into the 2010s.
Yeah.
This particular one is with Christopher Chance. The long and short, because I really don't want to spoil this one too much, is he has been poisoned. He's going to die, and he has 12 days to solve his own murder. For those of you unaware of what Human Target is, Christopher Chance takes on the appearance of his client and lets assassination attempts happen and then fail, catching whoever the assassin is.
Right. Also a great show on Fox. They canceled it, but go ahead.
Yes. I actually like the 90s version better than the 2000s version.
Fair enough.
But I mean, it was Rick Springfield in the 90s, so, you know.
Yeah. I mean, both series are great.
Oh, yeah. So, Rick Chance stops a assassination attempt on Lex Luthor. Of course, now that he knows that he's poisoned, he immediately assumes Luthor. Luthor's like, no, I hired you. Why would I kill you when you actually prevented my death? Look, I know what my people say, and they're right about me, but I don't do people that dirty. To which he's like, okay. So he does the only thing he can do, goes to Dr. Midnight. Dr. Midnight's like, hey, I recognize what you're poisoned with. This particular poison is from a certain dimension, and it's fine if it comes in contact with the skin, but if it's ingested, you die. But there's only one team that has covered this dimension, and the poison was coating them from how much is stuck to their clothes, and that's the JLI.
Ooh.
And so this tells us we are in the Bwahaha era of Justice League. So everybody in the JLI is a suspect. Me personally, it's probably Captain Atom.
I wouldn't be beyond it.
Guy in this particular era has way too much CTE going on and brain trauma and multiple personalities. Fire and Ice, not so much. Gnort is not competent enough to even do this. Scott Free doesn't want that kind of attention. Dinah's too busy yelling at Booster and Ted. I'm ruling out Booster and Ted because it's that era of Booster and Ted. Batman would not poison someone. John wouldn't poison somebody, so our 2 suspects would probably be Rocket Red and Captain Atom.
Okay.
So he just lies down, and at the end of the book, he's like, all right, well, I got to make a phone call. I got to schedule an appointment, go to the embassy, and lie down and turn off the light, and that's it. Artwork in this is phenomenal. The writer's Tom King. He literally just finished his Strange Adventures book.
Okay.
Art for this is done by Greg Smallwood. Really great. It kind of looks like more stylized version from New Frontier.
Okay. That gives me an idea that gives you his artwork. I had to think about it for a second. He's done more than, well, no. Wrong artist. Sorry. I was about to name something completely abstract.
Let me look real quick. We got...
Because I was going to say, he's also did, if I'm right...
He's done artwork for Vampironica.
Nope, not the one I'm thinking of.
He's done the artwork for Moon Knight. Jeff Lemire's run of Moon Knight.
There it is. That's the one I'm thinking of.
What else has he done? He's done The Punisher,
Yep.
Shield, but he's most known for his Moon Knight run and his Vampironica.
Yeah, because Moon Knight is where I remember his artwork from. Okay, that took me a second. All right. Well, that being said, guys, that's really going to do it for our podcast. So we do thank you all for watching and liking and letting people know that we're online and things of that nature. I don't know about you guys, I'm looking forward to Joe's comic book. His to be titled, it's still the pull box, but that's going to be, it's a working title until him and his co-host. When did you say you guys were going to start doing your thing? You said it was going to do it on Twitch.
We're gonna shoot for Wednesday nights. I got to figure out how badly this is gonna make the computer freak out because I got to do Skype call, then put the Skype call in XSplit while simultaneously putting up the comic book. So
I would give you one word of advice: record it, then upload it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I can record it.
Recording, it'll be a whole lot easier on it. Trust me. I mean, even though I'm building two machines back there, you can tell by the parts sitting on the table behind me. But trust me, and if you're doing it that way with all that going on, record it. You'll be a way better off. But aside from that, like I said before, they'll be doing it Wednesday on his Twitch channel. Joe Italian last name. I'm sorry, I am completely jealous of that freaking handle. But aside from that, Joe, what's the other socials they can find you on, man?
Twitch, or no, we already just did that one. Mm-hmm. Nashville Scarlet Spider, Nashville Green Lantern. My episode with Everyday Superhero Training just came out.
Yep.
That was a nice 3 hours that we got condensed in 2 hours.
Shout out to Julian at Everyday Superhero Podcast for that.
I hope they're having a fantastic time up in Jersey.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they are. I'm so surprised they packed all that in that car with animals and everybody survived. most road trips have ended in less tragic casualties. But yes, shout out to Julian. Julian's gonna be mad at me because I destroyed his name in like 5 seconds. Shout out to Julian at Everyday Superhero Podcast. As of course Joe has been on there because Joe is popular, way more popular than I. But you can definitely find him there and look forward to his Pool Box podcast, which will be also on his Twitter stream. You said this Wednesday, or is it the trial run, or is it gonna be later? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna record it Wednesday, and then I'll either upload it somewhere or just toss it to you.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure which.
Well, either one. I'm here. I'm here for all tech support needs. You know, I'm better than Geek Squad in some areas. But
I gotta figure out how to do everything because I gotta go to work, come home, go to the gym, come back, and find out what's what. So,
welcome.
Time management will be fun.
Welcome to the world, sir. It's like welcome to my life. That did not sound encouraging. That sounded diabolical. I apologize. I can only do evil laughs. That being said, I do want to shout out some other people who do some shameless plugging. Vaughn at BigBZA on socials. Vaughn Westman on Facebook. Has a couple of podcasts of his own. The Smoking Trailer Sundays every Sunday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. in which he shows movie and video game trailers that you may find interesting. He also does the RAF, which is like America's Funniest Home Videos, except done by WorldStar, so only for the grown and intended, every Tuesday from 6:30 to 9 p.m. He also has a gaming channel of his own called Making Plays, which he does do live on Facebook, so definitely check him out. Vaughn Witherspoon on Facebook, BigBZA and all socials. Also, shout out to Ari and Guy present Geek Salad, as I'm showing the Facebook page right here, which you can find them on. I like to thank those guys because they allowed us to share our podcast on their Facebook page as well as a YouTube page. I certainly appreciate that, fellas. They are like us. They do talk about all things pop culture and for the culture, including comic books, sci-fi, and I think they just now recently did upload a new episode, Midnight Mass. Again, I talked about Midnight Mass. It is definitely not for the children. It's for the grown adults, but you should check it out. But also check out Ari and Guy present Geek Salad on Facebook and on YouTube. And of course, as for yours truly, the link at the bottom that's in red, if you copy and paste that into your browser, will take you to my link tree for all of my podcasts. Git Bit, How the Frack We Got Here, and of course, also this podcast. My IG handle in the top left-hand corner, BlackFox447. You can definitely follow me there on Instagram, as I do movie reviews, video game reviews, sometimes inspirational stuff, and trying to be like Joe and get in shape, because, you know, Joe's in better shape than I just do a couple of push-ups. But definitely like and follow me there. And also, speaking of Joe, for all those that don't know, he is a healthcare professional. Help Joe have a better time at work. Aside from the post I saw him do earlier of someone trying to explain, describing how to find a nurse for their family. Which, by the way, sir, your PhD in sarcasm is entertainment in itself. I just want to say that from a person that follows your Facebook page.
I wasn't trying to be rude.
It wasn't rude, but it was like, she's blonde with a ponytail. That's about 80% of our staff. I'm sorry.
The one that came out on my own was what the I was like, do you have any, can you tell me that she had an accent? Ma'am, we're in the South.
I'm sorry. I know you don't mean it as sarcasm, but I can just hear the delivery. It's like, you're not helping me. I see these people all the time. But not to get sidetracked, like I said before, Joe is a healthcare professional. So guys, this needs to be said. If you haven't been vaccinated, please get vaccinated. Schedule a booster shot. It's also available. Please wear a mask whenever you go out. I was actually at the Multi-City Comic-Con, Music City Comic-Con that was actually here. Had a fun old time, and I love the fact that everybody, everybody was wearing masks. You need to wear a mask in order to get inside. But I love the fact that everybody was wearing a mask and not actually circumventing the rule, maintaining social distances, things of that nature. Because trust me, a con is fun, guys. But you know what else is fun? Not getting COVID and not getting somebody else. So definitely mask up, protect yourself, because when you protect yourself, you protect others, and that's how we're going to actually survive this. That also being said, guys, like I said before, me and Joe will be watching the Eternals in the movie theaters tomorrow night. We will come back next Friday and give our full spoiler reviews of Eternals as far as what to expect, what else that comes along in geek culture, because trust me, it's beginning of the week next week, and aside from, Eternals, Ghostbusters, Hawkeye, Far From Home, and then Boba Fett, all within the next 60 days, it's going to be a lot that we're going to talk about. So, with that being said, Joey, any last words you got, sir?
Blue blazes.
I thought you were going to go with Jonah Jameson for a second. But anyway, that being said, guys.
Okay, fine. Bring me pictures of Spider-Man.
Okay, I'll take that. With that being said, guys, he's been Joe, I've been Will. This has been the Git Bit Podcast for tonight. Do thank you all for watching. If you're watching this on the playback, please comment if it's live. We still want to know what you thought about everything that we discussed. Aside from that, guys, take care of yourselves and each other, and we will get through this. Peace.